Today's presentation will cover all of the information that you see on your screen now. I should be talking for 30 to 45 minutes, and then again, we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. If you haven't already turned off your camera and microphone, please do that now. But you can see that I'll be covering focus areas within the MSW program, the field program, funding information, certification and licensure, housing, events, all the different student supports that are available to our MSW students. So if you already have some questions in mind, hopefully by the time I get to that section, I'll have those answered. Okay, so I would like to read a land acknowledgement to respect and recognize the Indigenous people on which UW-Madison sits, and I also work and live. The University of Wisconsin-Madison and the Sandra Rosenbaum School of Social Work occupy ancestral Ho-Chunk land, a place their nation has called Tehope since time immemorial. In an 1832 treaty, the Ho-Chunk were forced to cede this territory. Decades of ethnic cleansing followed when both the federal and state government repeatedly but unsuccessfully sought to forcibly remove the Ho-Chunk from Wisconsin. This history of colonization informs our shared future of collaboration and innovation. Today, UW-Madison respects the inherent sovereignty of the Ho-Chunk Nation, along with the 11 other First Nations of Wisconsin. The School of Social Work was founded in 1946 and was first accredited by the Council on Social Work Education in 1952. So we do have a long history of training social workers, both here in the state of Wisconsin and beyond. And currently, we're ranked 13th in the nation of top social work programs, tied for that 13th spot with NYU, Ohio State, and UCLA. Our school did receive a naming endowment. So as of July 1st, 2020, we are officially the Sandra Rosenbaum School of Social Work. And along with that naming endowment came some generous scholarship funds for our students, which I will jump more into detail with later in the presentation. So the full-time MSW program here at UW-Madison is considered an advanced generalist program. So you will get a wide breadth of topics in your classes. However, we do have the option of 4 focus areas, each of those having at least one sub-focus. Students can also choose to not have a focus area, but this is pretty uncommon and means that students get to pick and choose their topics courses instead of having those laid out for them by their focus areas. The Child, Youth, and Family Welfare focus area is intended for students with an interest in school social work, child welfare, or advanced generalist social work practice with children, youth, and families within the systems that they operate. So, for example, juvenile justice, community-based services, things like that. This focus area exposes students to the policies and practice philosophies of multiple service systems, the way in which these systems intersect, and the models of coordinated service delivery for the families involved within these systems. The CYFW focus has sub-focuses of schools, child welfare training, and policy, with placements in community agencies, adoption, case management, policy settings, the list goes on. The school sub-focus has placements within school settings, and the child welfare training program has placements at county child welfare offices across the state of Wisconsin. The health focus area, moving on to the second one, prepares students to work successfully in a variety of settings that tackle the unique and intersecting issues related to health. Students within this focus area will learn advanced practice skills, including brokering, care and case management, assessment, and teamwork. The health focus area has placements within hospice, pediatrics, skilled home care, both inpatient and outpatient hospital settings, direct practice, emergency rooms, et cetera, et cetera. The policy subfocus will have placements in health policy, such as within city, state, and county offices, as well as organizations that advocate for health policy. The aging focus area is relatively similar to the health focus area, although this does dive deeper into disability and older adults. So students in this focus area will learn advanced skills in brokering, care and case management, assessment, and teamwork again. They'll develop knowledge and skills such as consumer-directed care, assessment, and end-of-life care. The aging focus area has placements within skilled nursing facilities, hospice, the VA, health protective services, and community care options. The policy sub-focus within aging has placements at city, county, and state agencies, as well as organizations that advocate for health policy. Sorry about that. Jumped ahead a little bit. Where was I? The mental health focus area, moving on to the last and final focus area, prepares social workers for advanced practice roles in community mental health and substance abuse services, and within systems that address the needs of the most marginalized and oppressed members of our communities. Although the mental health focus area does embrace a life course perspective, it does primarily focus on clinical social work with children, youth, and adults who are living with or at risk for serious mental health or substance abuse issues. The mental health focus area has placements within clinical mental health practice, outpatient and inpatient hospital settings, partial hospitalization programs, group counseling, medical social work, etc. Mental health policy sub-focus students work with local and state agencies such as NAMI or other community agencies. And then, of course, again, that option of no focus area. I will talk briefly about licensure in the state of Wisconsin later in this presentation, but I would like to let you know that we have a very detailed page on our website that goes much more into certification and licensure if you're looking at one specific piece. Okay, so students entering without advanced standing will start in this generalist practice year or year one of the program. This just means that these students do not have a bachelor's in social work, or they received their bachelor's in social work quite a long time ago. They'll take 5 courses during the fall and spring semester during this first year as a generalist student, and this includes the field seminar, which is centered around the topic of your field placement. I'll go into more detail with how that is decided later in the presentation. Other courses that you'll take within this generalist year include human behavior and the environment, generalist practice, social policy, diversity, oppression, and social justice in social work, and psychopathology, which is required to obtain LCSW licensure in the state of Wisconsin. And you'll take about 13 credit hours each of your first 2 semesters in your generalist year. So then moving on to year 2, or the advanced generalist year, this would be applicable to anybody entering with advanced standing or moving on from their first year of the program. This year includes topics courses within your focus area, including advanced practice, policy, macro practice, your field seminar, and then 3 electives as well. These electives, both in your first year and your second year, can be taken outside of the School of Social Work, but they must be at the graduate level and they should be relevant to your degree. So for example, if you are in the health focus area, you might consider taking some classes in the public health department, or if you're interested in school social work, maybe taking some classes in education. So you can be pretty creative here, and we have academic advisors that can help you with those decisions. In addition to the coursework in the second year, you'll have your field placement for about 20 hours per week throughout the academic year. Again, I'll dive more into that in our next slide. So I would definitely encourage you to follow the link that I've put at the top of this slide. We have a lot of good information on our website, including videos for each of the field units that provide a comprehensive overview of what's discussed and explored in each, and where students are exactly placed within those field units. We also have our field handbook on our website, which has a list of participating agencies, so you can get a better understanding of what some of those placements look like. Some of the more unique placements that students have had in the past few years, we've had a few clinical students at equestrian therapy facilities. We've had students do forensic interviewing at child advocacy centers. Students have done their field placements within local library systems, the student financial aid office here on campus, and then multiple placements have been done both within local and state governments based here in Madison, which is really exciting. So students will complete their field preference form at the beginning of both their first and second year. And this field preference form will ask you questions about transportation, availability, your course schedule, what your interests are, what your previous experiences are, and the kinds of new experiences that you want to get out of your field placement. After you fill out that form, our field office will review that information, and then they'll place you within one of our field units. Now, of course, if you're not happy or you don't like the placement that you get, they're happy to work with you. But we are a generalist program, so we do want our students to have a wide variety of experiences. So definitely be open to exploring something that maybe isn't your first choice for your field unit. As I mentioned earlier, in your first year, you'll hold that generalist placement for about 16 hours per week. And then in your second year, or that advanced generalist year, you'll hold that placement for about 20 hours per week. So with that field placement, you need time to do that. So we make it really nice for our students. Our MSW students typically only have their courses on Tuesday and Thursday during the normal working day. And then your field placements, discussions, labs, other sorts of things like that are scheduled on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We don't offer many online social work classes, but some of your elective courses may be offered in a hybrid or online format. As the years have gone by, more and more students are working part-time or even full-time while completing our degree. And while this is possible, it's important to find a job that's flexible and that can offer you evening and weekend hours, because those tend to work best with our student schedule. If you plan to work, I suggest being upfront with your supervisor, whether it's in a job that you already have or a job that you're getting as you move to the Madison area, about the time commitment required by both your coursework and fieldwork and all of your other student commitments, to make sure that all of those are addressed upfront rather than trying to make adjustments in the middle of the semester. So moving on to events, we do host a variety of both ongoing and recurring events here at the Sandra Rosenbaum School of Social Work. Our annual Social Workers Confronting Racial Injustice Conference was held virtually in 2020 and had over 5,000 participants. We just got done last month with our fall public child welfare dialogue, a recording of which you can find on the website. That event was really interesting, and we got to dive deeper into some child welfare topics. And we'll also have a few of these other different events, such as the Hearing Voices simulation, returning prisoner simulation, and a student symposium in the spring, where students can showcase their research or field experiences. We do offer a number of student supports for our MSW students, as well as all other students within the School of Social Work. Our advisors, Hannah and Belinda, work with the full-time MSW program, as well as our undergrads pursuing their BSW or social welfare major. Our advisors can help you with discussing career goals, academic plans, or just provide more general advising. You can meet with them, as often as you'd like for assistance. They can help you find independent study projects. They'll send out information when assistantships become available within the school. And they're just generally a great resource for our master's level students as they move through the program. If you have questions prior to enrolling, as you're moving through the application process or anything like that, please reach out to me instead of the advisors, as they're busy working with our current students. If there's not a question that I can answer, I'd be happy to find that answer from a colleague, but please try to wait to contact them until after you are admitted. Another great student support is our faculty. We have a ton of great faculty members here in the School of Social Work that can serve as subject matter experts, connect you with research or projects that you can get involved with as a student, connect you with different field units or funding opportunities, just all around great resource, good to network with them. We have field faculty that are working actively within the field of social work and can help connect you with opportunities related to their work experience. We also have some faculty members such as Tova Walsh on the far left side here that are working with our PhD program. So if you're considering going and pursuing your PhD after your master's, it'd be great to connect with her. We also have our faculty members, they'll host assistantships, but some of those will be reserved for PhD students, so don't necessarily count on getting an assistantship, especially in your freshman year. or not your freshman year, your first year, apologies. We do have a lot of other funding opportunities, which I'll dive deeper into later in the presentation. But on the side, you can see some of our faculty members. I already introduced Tova Walsh, but her research is on the prevention of domestic violence and child maltreatment within low-income families. On the far right, we have Ju-Young Kong, and her focus is on the adverse effects that childhood experiences can have on well-being in later life. And then, let's see, next to her, we have Lonnie Berger, who works to inform public policy decisions that assist families in accessing resources and improving their family function. Amanda, the second from the left, is on leave right now, but she will be coming back, and she works very closely with our field unit. And then Alice in the middle, Alice Egan, she works closely with our Title IV-E program. And I will go into that in more detail on one of the slides later in the presentation. So some other student supports that we have across campus include University Health Services, the McBurney Disability Resource Center, Gender and Sexuality Campus Center, and the Multicultural Student Center. We also have several student organizations, both within the School of Social Work and across campus, that our MSW students can get involved with. Each of these groups will have a faculty liaison that works with the students so that, you know, not everything's just a big question mark for you. But we also have committees within our school that students can get involved with, such as the Building Committee, Curriculum Committee, or the Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Okay, now into the nitty-gritty details. In order to apply to the full-time MSW program, you'll first want to apply to the graduate school at UW-Madison, and then submit your supplemental application to the School of Social Work, which is, you can see a step 2 on this list. The supplemental application is within the graduate school application and will become available to you after you select social work as your field of study. I do want to let you all know that the graduate school does require a $75 application fee. There are a limited number of waivers available through the graduate school to ensure that, you know, that fee is not a barrier to anyone that wants to apply. But we do understand that to be eligible for that, you must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident or participated in one of several pipeline programs. So if you think that you might qualify for a waiver and you apply through the graduate school and then find out that you are not eligible, please reach out to me. There may be a few different strings that I can pull to get you that fee waiver. All items, though, on this checklist must be submitted before the January 10th deadline. So that's January 10th, 2023. It's best to start your application now if you are considering applying for the fall, just to give your your recommenders plenty of time to submit their information, give you plenty of time to work on your essays, and because we can't assign those recommenders until after your application is started. So even if you're not planning on pressing submit until January 10th, please just go in and start that now, and you're not held to anything, but good to just get it started. So the application did open on September 7th, so it's been open for 3 months now. And again, it will remain open until January 10th, 2023. You'll want to apply early, make sure all of your materials are submitted correctly, and that making sure to apply early will also give you some extra time should any sort of issue crop up through the application process. We do have several prerequisites, as you can see on the screen. We do require a 3.0 GPA, but we understand that not all students coming, especially as a returning student, will meet this requirement. So there is a special circumstances box on the supplemental application with no length limits at all. So you can write as much as you want in that box. And we encourage you to be as specific as possible if you don't meet that 3.0 GPA requirement, to explain the context behind that and why your GPA might not necessarily represent your ability to succeed in graduate school. We do encourage you to use your best judgment on this section, but some examples of things that might be addressed are, you know, a loss of a family member or a significant illness, especially as we move out of the pandemic. 30 social science credits are also required in order to have your application reviewed. Prospective students that don't meet this requirement must complete these credits before applying. So if you have not yet completed 30 social science credits, you may want to wait until our next year's application cycle to apply and take those social science credits in the meantime. If you have any questions about the types of courses that count as social science, we do have a breakdown on our website, but you can also send me your questions and I'd be happy to look through your transcripts and provide you more advice on that. Our third prerequisite is the statistics class. Now, this one is a little bit different. We don't require you to have this course completed before you apply, but we would prefer that you have it done prior to enrolling in your first semester with us. So many students that don't yet have the statistics class complete will take that during the spring or summer prior to enrolling with us at either Madison College, UW-Madison here, or a community college closer to them. These classes are usually about 3 credits, and you can take them in a variety of formats. Online is fine. If it's like a statistics for social science majors, that's also fine. We have a breakdown on our website of the topics that course must cover, but if you have any questions, again, just email me. I'm happy to look it over for you. On our website as well, we do have detailed guidance for how to complete the application, including essay instructions, letters of reference, transcripts, all that good stuff. Our reviewers will also use this guidance on our website to evaluate the applications. So make sure to follow those instructions to a T to make sure that you're submitting the best possible application. Our admissions chair, Dr. Schroepfer, has posted a video to our website with an overview of application requirements as well. And she goes into more detail about what exactly it is that we're reviewing and looking for within your application. I know that I had that long list of checklist items and these prerequisites, but I do want to just let you guys know that we do a holistic review of your application. So, you know, if you have a low GPA or you haven't taken a stats class yet, or maybe your essay isn't the strongest essay that you can write, it's not necessarily going to disqualify you from admission because we will weigh each of those pieces pretty equally. Okay, jumping into funding. We do offer several full ride scholarships that you'll be automatically considered for with your admissions application. These will go all the way up to full tuition and fees and a stipend. Some of them are a few $1,000s, some of them are just full tuition. It really depends on the scholarship. But the Ozawa, the Clark, Topitsis, and Shimpa you see on the top of the slide here will all be, you'll be automatically considered for those. We do have an additional scholarship that came along with that naming endowment I was talking about earlier, called the Rosenbaum Scholarship. That includes full tuition fees and a yearly stipend for students that are awarded this. That does have another application, and I'll go into that more on the next slide. Then we have the Title IV Public Child Welfare Training Program, which includes full tuition, funds for books, supplies, and mileage, as well as a stipend. The Public Child Welfare Training Program does have a work payback piece, and I'll dive more into that in a further slide. And then we also offer our scholarship competition each fall for our current students. Last year, we gave away $37,000. This year, it's about double that. So we're giving out over 50 scholarships this year to our current students, ranging from $1,000 to $3,000. Last year, it went up to $5,000, but now we're awarding to more students. So those amounts have gone down just a little bit. But I'll dive more into those application processes for the Apply To opportunities. So the Rosenbaum Scholarship, again, provides full tuition and fees, as well as a stipend for the length of time that you're in the program. The selection of the Rosenbaum Scholars is made during the admissions process, but does require that separate application. So once you submit your admissions application, you'll get assigned a login for our WISH system or our Wisconsin Scholarship Hub. And then you can log in there and complete the application through Wish. The deadline for the scholarship is the same as the application deadline, January 10th. So make sure that you submit that early so that you have plenty of time to apply to the Rosenbaum scholarship. And the picture you see here was our first cohort of Rosenbaum scholars. The Title IV Public Child Welfare Training Program is a federally funded program that provides full tuition and fees, funding for book supplies and mileage to and from your field site, and then a monthly stipend. This program does require work payback for the time period that you're funded. So if you are a part of the 4E program for only 1 year of study, then you would have 1 year of payback. If you are participating for your full 2 years within the MSW program, you would need 2 years of payback. The 4E program is great though, and offers a really strong cohort model where you'll get to know the other students in the program through special events, lectures, like that 4E dialogue that we just had last month, a book club, and other social gatherings throughout the year. This program does require a separate application, which is open now through January 25th, 2023. So once you submit your application, you do have an additional 2 weeks to apply, but that does have some additional steps. So if you'd like to apply, I would definitely take a look at our website for requirements for the application, or send me an email and I'd be happy to go over that more in detail. So certification and licensure. Each state has its own requirements. The schools of social work, no matter where you go, will only provide the degree, not the certification or licensing. We do typically offer an information session during the spring semester for our current students on licensure, but it varies in each state. Sorry, excuse me. It's hard to get into specifics. In the state of Wisconsin, you can work with NASW or with our faculty members, our advisors, to find resources and classes to prepare you for those licensure exams. For example, with the LCSW, you have to take psychopathology. We build that into your program, no matter what your focus area is. If you are in the mental health focus area and you hold a clinical placement during your field unit, you would only be required to receive 3,000 hours of supervision before taking that exam instead of 4,500 hours. So there are some benefits to getting your degree with us, as it knocks down those hours a little bit. But just to give you guys some good statistics, make us look good. In 2020, over 96% of our MSW graduates passed the ASWB exam on their first try. And that was compared to about 75% nationally. So over a 20% difference. And for all attempts in 2020 from our graduates, over 91% passed, compared to 63% nationally. So we do prepare you very well for these exams, and we have a lot of resources to help you prepare on your own as well. If you'll be looking for housing, the UW-Madison housing website has both on-campus and off-campus listings. The on-campus housing is a little bit difficult to get, so I wouldn't count on it, especially your first year, as a lot of the graduate level housing is reserved for PhD level students. But I would definitely encourage you to use other housing websites like Zillow, apartments.com, even Craigslist has some good options sometimes. Madison does have a great bus system. So if you are okay living a little bit further from campus, I would definitely try to find something close to a bus line, because campus parking can be difficult as well. Bus passes are free, so it's a great resource for students to use. And the farther you get away from campus, the more affordable housing will become. I've listed the campus links up at the top, but again, please feel free to use your other resources. There are a lot of housing websites available now. I recently moved to Madison this fall, just a few months ago, and I was able to find housing relatively easily. I would just encourage you to be flexible and start looking early. So as soon as you're admitted, start that search and get something locked down pretty quickly. So again, I just moved to Madison, so I am not your Madisonian tour guide or anything like that, but I do think it's great to live here. I think you would all enjoy it as well. Our students compiled this list to help me out with what's great about living in Madison, but obviously this is not exhaustive. Some of the highlights that they thought were we have a very open and accepting community. We are very, very bike friendly. There are bike lanes everywhere in Madison, so you can get from the far east side of town to the far west side of town without ever leaving a bike lane. We have endless activities from art museums and concerts to the Dane County Farmers Market on the Capitol Square. There's always something going on. You're never too far from the water, which is awesome, especially if you're into canoeing or sailing or anything like that. Or during the winter, you can go ice skating. We are near state and local government. So if you're a student that's interested in one of those policy sub focuses, you could work at the Capitol or within local government around Madison. And again, winter weather activities, and of course, Badger athletics. If you are interested in attending a football or basketball game or becoming a UW hockey fan, we have student discounts for MSW students, and they're just really fun to attend. All right, so now it is time for questions. I'm going to stop the recording and we can go